Hey guys, in this video I'm going to be comparing the difference between the tattoo industry's leading branded thermal paper by Spirit against the eBay thermal paper from China, the cheap stuff. Now, the reason why I'm making this video obviously is to show you a comparison, but also because I see time and time again on comments on forums and this and that where people are saying the clone stuff, the copied stuff, the cheap stuff is just as good as the original stuff. And through my experience, and it's my opinion, that it's simply not. The branded stuff just seems to work a hell of a lot better. And you know, everybody likes to save money, so there's no reason why I'd be saying spend the extra cash on all the branded stuff if it was exactly the same as the cheap stuff, because it just wouldn't make sense to do that. And the fact is, like I say, the leading brands do tend to make a much better job, and that's across the board, from machines to needles, power packs, everything I've come across, ink. So this is no exception, and I'm going to show you exactly why. So it's not just me saying, hey, the branded stuff's really good, get that. I'm going to actually show you the difference, because starting your tattoo with a decent stencil and getting a really good transfer is it's the building blocks, it's the foundations to a good tattoo. If you've got a stencil that just falls off, or it's only half on from the off, then you're going to be on the back foot when you're doing the tattoo. So before we even get into looking at the different papers, I'm just going to clear up what thermal paper is against hectograph paper. Now, thermal paper is when you put it through either a thermal printer or a dot matrix printer, anything like that, and you actually print out your design. Not to be confused with this stuff, hectograph paper, where it's just one sheet, there's no other sheets to it. And basically, what you do with hectograph paper, really quickly show you, you get your design. Let's just say there's a design on here, and you get your pen or your pencil and you draw around your design. And then when you turn it over, your design's on there, and then you can cut around that and that'll go straight onto the skin. That's hectograph paper. And again, this stuff is different because you actually put the stuff through a printer. The way it's made is different. So this is by Spirit, this is what I use, and like I say, I think it's a fair enough assumption to say that Spirit is the tattoo industry's leading brand thermal paper, and hexagraph paper for that matter, made in USA. So this is what we get from Spirit. You got the yellow sheet at the back. There's 4 sheets to this. So you've got your top sheet here. This is what your actual stencil will be printed onto. This is the actual paper that you'd put onto the skin. You've got an onion sheet here, and basically what this does is protect the carbon from transferring onto the sheet. So it's like a little protection sheet. So you basically throw that away, and there's obviously the carbon sheet. So basically, you run this through the printer, or the thermal printer, whatever you're using, and then you'll get an image on here, on the front of it. You'll cut this out and stick it on the skin. So there were 4 sheets to this, okay? Now, here's the cheap Chinese stuff. And I've only got a little offcut of this. I got hold of some of this stuff from eBay, just so I could do this review, and it's, to be honest, it's worse than what I thought it was. Okay, so from the off, this only has 3 sheets straight away. So there's no onion sheet, there's no protective sheet. So like this one, we had this sheet here which was protecting inside there. This hasn't got this. The next thing I noticed, the Spirit paper is so much thinner. So this is like really thin, like tissue paper thin. I don't know if the camera's picking that up, but it's super thin. Now, in stark contrast to this stuff is like, it's got a thickness to it. It doesn't bend as easy. The only way I can describe it on camera is it it's got a thickness to it. It feels like there's almost maybe 3 of these sheets to this one. And it feels more like, you know, the baking paper that people use, you know, and the baking bread or cakes or whatever. It feels a bit like that. It's got the same consistency to that. Now, and again, this is just so much lighter and so much crispier. You can see how thin this is. You can actually see my fingers under there. The camera's picking that up. You can see my fingers moving under that. That's how thin that is. Now, do it on this one. Can't really see anything. Again, it's a lot thicker. So what I'm going to do for this test, I've printed out a stencil on the Spirit paper, and I've also printed out a stencil on the Chinese eBay paper. Now for the design, I've gone for a really fine script, because it's no good printing out something really big and bold. I'm talking about something really delicate, in case, you know, you're doing maybe a design with lots of intricate little bits in it, maybe a portrait or anything like that, or even doing script and you're printing out your lettering, and it needs to be really, really fine detailed. So that's what's going to really put this paper to the test, to see if we can get a good transfer onto the skin from each of the papers. So I've already printed the script out. It just says stencil paper test on each. I'm going to show you them now, and from the off you're going to see the difference between the two straight away before it even goes on the skin. Okay, so these are the two that I printed out. They're both been printed out exactly the same size, same font, on the same printer. Now, let me just do a test with you guys. Let me just get these two. Okay. So, just by looking at these two, just by looking, which do you think's the quality one? Which do you think's the Spirit paper? If you said the bottom one, you were right, of course it is. Now, look at the difference there. That's made a pretty good stencil there. And then look at the difference on the top one. You can see it's all pitted. It's like it's missed transferring some of the design. And more concerning, if you look underneath, because obviously this is just the top of it, if you look underneath, because this is the bit that's actually going to transfer to the skin. Now, this again is Spirit paper. Look how strong that is. So that you're going to get a really nice transfer with that. Now, let's look at the eBay one. So underneath it's even worse, and this is the design that's going to get actually transferred onto the skin. See how pitted that is? So straight away you can see the difference between the two. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to apply these both to the skin so you can actually see how they transfer. And you can decide for yourself then whether, once you see it on the skin, you can decide whether you'd be happy to tattoo that. So I'm going to put it on the skin now. Okay, so I've just basically shaved my leg. I've alcoholed it down, just like I would with any stencil that I applied. So I'm just going through the motions of what I'd use. I'm using stencil stuff to put this on. I'm just going to stick some of that on now. The Spirit stencil. I'm also applying the Chinese one. Okay, so I'm going to tack off the Spirit one now. You can see that, just zoom in on it. And that's transferred really well. No, I'd be happy to tattoo that, no problems at all. So let's take off the Chinese one. Here we go. Now, guys, that's gone on worse than I actually anticipated it would. But would you be happy to tattoo that if you had to follow that stencil? Not a chance. I wouldn't even attempt it. You can make out paper, maybe. Stencil, not there at all. It's completely not there. And if you compare it to the Spirit paper, and guys, this is the difference, and this is when I always say to people, you know, buy the best that you can afford, you know, save up a little bit extra, get a decent machine, get decent ink, decent needles, decent stencil paper, because there's the difference. And like I said, you know, if your stencil's not there, your stencil is the foundations. It's the absolute foundations of your tattoo, and if that's not right, then you're going to be on the back foot straight from the off. So I hope this has helped a few of you out. If you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, I really appreciate it, and there'll be some more videos coming soon. Cheers, guys.